Hello, everyone. This is Roman Polnar, and welcome to Food for Thought, which is a series of conversations with entrepreneurs, professionals, thought leaders, and philanthropists in the Jewish community. And today I'm excited to have a conversation with Sandy Lipkowitz, a new Business Circle member and founder of We Make Travel Easy. Sandy will share her lifelong love for travel, what inspired her to start an award-winning full-service travel agency, how she creates unique, memorable travel experiences for her clients, and I'll also ask Sandy to share some of her travel tips from her own travels to over 75 countries and 5 different continents. But first, I want to thank our sponsor. This series is brought to you by Hebrew Free Loan of San Francisco. Hebrew Free Loan is a nonprofit that provides interest-free loans to help Jewish individuals in Northern California overcome financial challenges and pursue life streams. HFLA has been supporting our community with interest-free loans for 125 years, and this series of conversations is another way to offer resources and support. Each person we're speaking with has real-world experience, and they volunteer to share their insights that may help you navigate whatever may be facing in your own life or business. And if you're listening from outside of Northern California, and you're wondering if there's a Jewish free loan that serves your area, please check out ajfl.org. That's iajfl.org, which is a network of more than 50 Jewish free loan agencies throughout the world with the common goal of providing interest-free loans to those in need. All right, so without further ado, let's get started with our show. Sandy, welcome to Food for Thought.
Thank you, Roman. It's a pleasure to be here and an honor.
Thank you. How are you?
Great.
Well, we really appreciate you taking some time to talk to us about travel, which I think is an incredibly exciting topic on any day, but especially now because we begin traveling again post-pandemic, and I'm sure a great deal of our listeners might be just waiting for that opportunity to create a unique and memorable travel experience, and others might be looking to catch up on a lot of lost travel. So maybe we can start by talking about We Make Travel Easy.
Okay,
Tell us about your company.
Well, We Make Travel Easy is a boutique travel agency. I started it in 2007, and we've won many awards. We've been the top travel agency in San Francisco by J. Readers Weekly since the first time that I really took the business full time, which was 2014. I've been in the top Producers Club in my host agency. I'm also on the Condé Nast top travel specialist list. So I'm very proud of all the wonderful things that we've achieved in the short time that, we've really been in the business. And, we have amazing clients, great referrals, great repeat business. And we love our clients and they love us.
And you all like to travel.
Absolutely. When they tell you, take your passion and make it your work and you'll never work a day in your life, it's really true.
That's it. That's beautiful. So I know that there's a difference between a traditional image of a travel agent and a full service travel agency, which you shared with me. But why don't you share that with our listeners? What is the difference?
Well, I like to call myself a travel advisor as opposed to a travel agent. From my perspective, a travel agent is someone who just books things, clicks and, just kind of takes order and books things. That's kind of like being with Expedia or one of those online booking engines. As a travel advisor, we up the level. I mean, think about your financial advisor like you are, Roman, to your clients, or an attorney or a CPA or something else. We understand the industry, we understand what's happening around the world, and we can provide expertise and information to any aspect of someone's trip, whether it's from initial planning, putting the itinerary together. Should you get insurance? Shouldn't you get insurance? Is this country okay to travel to? What about global entry? What do you need for your passport? What's happening when you're traveling, and then when you come home, sometimes there's issues that happen after you come home, besides just having wonderful pictures that you show your friends. So we're there for you before, during, and after travel. We always have our clients' backs. We're your partner in this, and to make sure that your experience is seamless and wonderful and exactly what you want to happen.
Sounds a lot more concierge-like and
Exactly, exactly,
partner-like.
exactly, exactly.
So, like, give me an example of what some of the most recent trips that you might have done, or something that comes to mind that you'd want to share with our listeners.
Well, I just had finished a bucket list trip of mine to Kenya. My third trip to Africa was not my first safari. And but I had always dreamed for years and years to go to Giraffe Manor. And I also wanted to see the Great Migration and the Masai Mara.
Hmm.
So it was actually a trip that was planned for October 2020.
Hmm.
And what I often do is I have a bucket list destination and I create a small group that I design the itinerary, and I call it Come With Me Travel. So this was this Kenya trip, and we had to put it off because of COVID, and we ended up, rebooking, and we did it in the end of August 2022. And it was so fabulous. I mean, Giraffe Manor was better than I had ever hoped it would be. I mean, it's a beautiful, small, tiny hotel, 38 rooms in the middle of a Rothschild giraffe preserve. The Rothschild giraffes are on the extinct or almost extinct list. And so by going there and having this fabulous experience where you have tea with the giraffes or breakfast with the giraffes, and you can pet them and they come up and they know it's tea time. At 4 o'clock, they're all coming up to where the tea is going to be because they have their kibble, and they all have their personalities. And then in the morning at 5:30 in the morning, they know 6 o'clock the kibble's coming out and they're there. And they're just such gentle giants. I mean, it
Hmm.
was just unbelievable. And then from there, we went to 3 different safari camps, and the company that I used, Hills of Africa and the Safari Collection, they're very much into conservation and preservation, and part of the money that you spend on safari goes to supporting the anti-poacher movements or the schools in areas or needs or health, or a lot of these places don't even have clean water. And
Hmm.
without clean water, you don't have anything else because you don't have health. So when you travel to Africa, you are really doing more than just having a life-changing experience for yourself. It's a life-changing experience for the people who are there. And we went to a rhinoceros conservatory, 45,000 acres fenced in. 45,000 acres is big. So, but they're able to protect the rhinos. The poachers are really after them, and they have not had any poaching in this conservatory. And they are, I don't know what the right word is, grooming black and white rhinos. And then when they get to a certain age, they move them to another area so that they can repopulate that population that was, probably wiped out by poachers. And then the last camp we went to was in the Masai Mara, and that was just to see the Great Migration. And we did a hot air balloon ride over it and saw thousands of zebras and wildebeests and everything, and the lions. And I don't know if anybody's watched, there's a PBS documentary on this lion pride in Kenya that kind of was very populated and then got wiped out by poisoning. But I think that we saw some of the lions from that pride. So it's so magical. Everyone's got to go to Africa at least once.
That's beautiful. And that's your third time, and that was
My
on your
third
bucket.
time. My third time. But Giraffe Manor was the bucket list.
Hmm. So where did all of this sort of love for travel come from? I was looking at your website, and 75 countries, 5 continents. I'm sure that wasn't all in the last 7 years.
No. When I was a kid, we lived in small towns in Pennsylvania, and on the weekends, my father would call it getting lost, and we would get in the car and we would just drive these back roads in Pennsylvania. And we lived in the Pennsylvania Dutch country, and so they had the covered bridges, all these charming things that you see, and to just go on a road. I mean, no Google Maps, no GPS, no nothing. And so that we would do that, and then every year my parents would take a vacation that would be a car trip. It was before people really took planes all over the place. And I remember we drove to Detroit, we drove to Washington, D.C., we drive to all these interesting places and have a wonderful, in fact, we even went to New York City on vacation one time. So, that was always there. And then in college, my first college intercession was my first airplane ride, and that was to San Juan, Puerto Rico. And it just continued. And then when I came out to California and finished graduate school and I was teaching in my first summer, I did 9 weeks with Europe on $5 and $10 a day. And I came back and I said, oh God, this is it. I love to travel. I'm going to be a travel photographer. Well, things went in different directions and I did different things, but I always traveled. And then after a divorce, and I had been in the shopping center industry and I didn't want to go back into that. In the early 2000s, I saw the handwriting on the wall with e-retailing. And also I wanted to do something that was more important to people than just leasing stores for them to buy things that they didn't need. And, went through a couple of different things, and this travel thing kind of happened, and it was, kind of just supposed to plug a hole. And it was Y2B Travel, and it was a multi-level marketing thing with selling websites where the underlying search engine was Travelocity. I quickly realized I didn't like multi-level marketing, but here I was in travel and helping people. And, that was 2007. So we all know what happened in 2007 and 2008. So people weren't traveling, but I did well for the first year, and the people who worked with me liked it. And it was a hobby business on the side. And then in late 2013, early 2014, I met my coaches that specialize in travel entrepreneurs. And I was working in a friend's business, and my pocketbook was in there and my heart was in the travel. And I just decided to go full time into travel. And I've never looked back. It's been just, wonderful and fabulous and very rewarding. And we even made it through COVID. Thanks very much to Hebrew Free Loan, who was able to get us through with the PPPs and the EIDLs. I did not close my doors. I did not lay anyone off. I wanted all our clients to know that their future travel credits were safe. We were taking care of them during COVID. In travel, you don't get paid until travel's completed. So in January of 2020, we had bookings all the way through November. And, when it first started, in San Francisco, it was March 17th and April 6th, the whole thing was going to be over. So all the cruise lines, the airlines, the tour companies, everybody didn't know what was happening. So it was month by month by month, we were canceling. And also I have an air person, I affectionately call her my air department, but she does all our air bookings. And, a lot of people canceled their trips and then they took vouchers for their airlines and then they're stuck with that. What we did is we watched up into the day the flights were going to take off. And when the flight was canceled, clients got refunds. So we were working for our clients all the way through COVID, with no compensation. Finally this year, lots of people have been able to in 2022, use their travel credits and travel again. And people are starting to travel a lot in we are so busy right now. It's unbelievable. Plus so much is not available already for 2023. So my number one travel tip is if you're planning on traveling in 2023, don't wait. But, so we've done a great job for our clients. And we also have a lot of newer clients who have been do-it-yourselfers. And, I have some of my closest friends, but they'll spend months doing research and, figuring out to do one trip. There's no way you can run a business that way. But I've actually had people who have been used to doing their own travels. And now because of all the complications in travel with the airline cancellations and the COVID and what documentation you need and insurance and all that, have just said, let me try a travel advisor, and have said, repeatedly, I hear, I'm never traveling without you again. And statistically, even before COVID, you would save $500 by using a travel advisor than just because people make a lot of mistakes. And so, that's one thing, but I would bet that if they did that statistic again, you'd probably save more money using a travel advisor because things have gotten way more complicated.
So let's talk about that. We sort of started on the 30,000 foot view, looking at the difference between travel agents, maybe historically, that people are familiar with, versus full service travel advisors such as yourself. But let's zoom in a little bit. Take me through, what does it actually look like for a person wanting to create this travel experience for themselves or their family or their business? How would they work with a travel advisor like yourself? And then what would you do with them?
Well, the way that we work is the first thing that we do is, on my website, I have a little link for contact us. And there's a couple of questions it'll ask about where you want to go, when you want to travel, who you're traveling with, what do you like to do when you're traveling, what money have you planned to spend on this trip, and things like that. And I usually ask people to fill that out, or sometimes I don't even know, and they go to the website and fill it out, and then I get the email. And then what I do is I contact the person and I set up a complimentary travel consult. Some people like to do it on the phone. I love to do it on Zoom because you get to experience me and I get to experience you. And I think it's, a lot better for thing. And so we go through and we talk about, I'll ask the person a lot of questions about what, the trip and what they want to do and what kind of hotels they like and all the different things. I mean, I can send 4 people to the same destination and they will have 4 different trips. Somebody's into food and wine, somebody's, very active sports, going to bungee jump off of whatever, somebody is a real museum person and somebody is, art and culture. I mean, and so you go to the destination, you see different things based on what you like to do, because everybody's trip is different. We're not the off the shelf cookie cutter kind of itineraries. Ours are all custom done. I mean, sometimes people come to us and they want to go on a small group tour, and we'll do that, and that's already preset. But most of the time, our people are looking for customized, unique itineraries. And because I am a Virtuoso travel agent, which is Virtuoso is a consortia for the higher end things. And so we often have very insider access to things that are not that available. We also, I just did this for a client before I got on the call. She wanted a particular hotel in Lyon, and she was concerned, we gave her a quote with all these Virtuoso amenities, which include early check-in, late checkout, upgrade upon availability, usually $100 to use on site, free Wi-Fi, all those other kind of goodies. And she was concerned that if we booked directly on, with the hotel, it would be less, because occasionally that happens. But we just got the quote back from the hotel and the price was exactly the same without the Virtuoso amenities. So booking through us, oh, and it also includes breakfast. And if you've looked at some of breakfast in Europe, sometimes it can be $30 to $50 a person for breakfast every day. So Virtuoso amenities are really there. And if you're going on a cruise, there's often extra things. I can give shipboard credits, just a lot of little extra wonderful things that just enhance the trip. And what I often say to people is, you cannot VIP yourself. I can VIP you. So, I had clients that had gone to Croatia. They had because of some airline changes, they had to change their room. They usually like a junior suite. We had to do a 1-bedroom suite because the junior suites were sold out for the new dates. And when they got to the hotel, they were upgraded to the presidential suite because of me. I mean, my supplier in Croatia wanted to do that for me because of my client. These are the kinds of things. I had clients that did the Orient Express from Paris to Venice. It was a slow time. It was April of 2022. There weren't that many people on the train, and the suite was not booked. My clients were the ones that were upgraded to the suite.
So cool.
It's those kinds of relationships that we have. And in fact, before this, I just came from a lunch with 2 Hilton hotels. Right now it's roadshow time. So all the hotels and the suppliers are out and they are, wining and dining the top travel advisors in the area. But that creates relationships. And then I call and I say, hi, Joan, I have my really good clients and, make it special. Oh, I have people that are in Costa Rica right now. And this year is their 50th anniversary. And I happened to mention that. They sent me a picture from the first hotel they were at, and the bed was a heart of rose petals with 50 in the middle.
That's so sweet.
It's just those little touches that, that happen when you have a good travel advisor.
Well, I think planning for any trip, there's so many moving pieces. It just given the fact that you've already mentioned that I'm in the world of personal finance, I think there's an interesting statistic that most people will spend more time planning their next vacation than they will plan their financial lives. And it's true.
I believe that. Totally believe that.
Well, it's more fun to plan.
Exactly.
But it does take so much time. And I suppose that's one of the main benefits, but you also have the convenience and the insight that can help you avoid making some of the mistakes.
And how valuable is your time?
Exactly.
And the other thing is that I deal with a lot of companies that are business to business. You as a consumer don't even have access to that. So, it's just like in any industry and kind of thing. So it's just not the same. And then what happens? For example, I had clients that were doing a self-drive in New Zealand. And while they were driving, there was a landslide and the road was blocked. So they called, and I always have a terrific travel partner in any destination around the world. I can't be an expert in every destination, but I have handpicked travel partners that I have relationships with. So because you can be 24/7 in the country. Now, New Zealand, they speak English, but what if it was in, Greece and you don't speak Greek or something like that? So anyway, within a day, it wasn't a day, we rerouted their car trip, canceled the reservations they could not get to, and made new reservations for their new road trip. Is that something that you could do as an individual, and you're upset about everything, and where would you even know how to drive or whatever?
Right.
So, those are the kinds of things that, sometimes can happen on a trip. And, if you got nobody to call, what do you do?
So share some of your maybe top travel tips.
Okay, well, the number one thing, and this is kind of a safety thing, always travel with a color photocopy of your passport in your wallet and your passport in your hotel. Never be walking around with your passport on you. You'll have your photocopy if you need to use it, or if you're buying something and you want the VAT back or whatever there, but the passport should always be in your room. And my little own personal thing is the night before I'm leaving, especially if I have an early morning flight, I either take it out of the safe and put it in, or leave the safe door open or something, because the last thing you want to do is leave it. But it's better to have your passport left in the safe than in your pocket and being pickpocketed, or, you lost something and whatever. So, and do the same thing with your credit cards. Take a photocopy of the front and the back of all your credit cards, keep it with your passport, so that if you lose a credit card or something along the way, you've got this photocopy you can call, and you can stop, all the things and everything else. And that stuff like that happens sometimes. So, that's really important. If you travel internationally, you should have global entry. It's $100 for 5 years. Many credit cards will reimburse you for it. What you do is you get the TSA pre-check, but you also get, when you're returning to the US, there's a separate booths that you go through. You are through customs and immigration in 2 seconds. And, I can have my bags and be gone before people are still online. So, those are kind of nice little things. If you're booking, let's say you just need to book an airline and you think you're going to do it, what you can do is go to Expedia, look at what might be the airlines that are flying where you want to fly, and then book on that airline's website. Don't book on Expedia or Kayak or any of these other places, because if you have a problem, the airline will not deal with you. They will tell you, you bought your ticket from Kayak, you bought your ticket from Expedia, and try and deal with their customer service.
Is there a trip that's too small, or before someone would consider coming to you, where they should just do it themselves?
Well, not that it's too small, but we do complete itineraries. Obviously, if we have really good clients and they want a favor, we're happy to do that for them. But just to book a ticket from San Francisco to New York, that's not what we're here for. We're here for complete itineraries, fabulous experiences. That's what we're here for.
People come to you with a wish list, then you help them put it together. Is that?
Exactly. Like sometimes I'll often use this example. If you think of a home improvement thing, analogy, some people go to Home Depot, they'll buy everything and they'll come home and they'll fix whatever it is. It'll be gorgeous. Those are the do-it-yourselfers. There are other people who, they want to remodel their kitchen and they know what kind of countertop and appliances and this and that, and they hire a contractor to do it. And then there's some people who have a house and they say, God, we got to do something, and they hire an architect and a designer. My clients would not be the do-it-yourselfers. Those people they love doing it, have a great time. I have clients that will call me and say, I want to go to Italy and I want to go to here and I want to see this and I want to do that. Make it happen for me. And then I have other clients who come to me and say, well, we really need a vacation. This friend went to Africa, this friend went to Antarctica, somebody else went to Machu Picchu. We don't know what to do. And when I have the travel consult with them, we'll go through it. And many, many times I come up with a suggestion, something that they never thought of, that's absolutely perfect and they love it.
Yeah, that's great. Can you share some of your upcoming trips?
Well, what I'd love to do is invite everybody to come to Morocco with me. I'm doing another one of my bucket list trips in this October, and we're going to start in Casablanca, and we'll go to Fez, and then we're going to go into the Atlas Mountains, and we're going to get to the point where we're going to get on camels, and we're going to ride into a desert camp. And let me tell you, when they talk about glamping, you'll think that you're in a Four Seasons hotel room when you're in this tent. But the starry night is unbelievable. I mean, there is no light pollution for God knows how many hundreds of miles away. The night is going to be incredible. And we'll also visit a Berber village and do a little hiking in the area. And then we'll end up in Marrakesh. And we'll have a tangine cooking class, and we'll see the Yves Saint Laurent Museum. And there'll also be an optional hot air balloon ride. So it's just going to be fabulous, fabulous, fabulous. And we're going to have a little bit of Jewish, sites in there as well. My feeling is when I go to Europe, I go to a lot of churches, I go to a lot of mosques, and I think it's okay for others to have some Jewish, culture and experience when we're traveling as well. So it's going to be an amazing trip, and I'd love for anyone to join me on that. And people who've traveled with me know that it's an amazing experience and they love it. I've had a lot of repeat people on my trips.
How big are the groups that go on these trips with you?
It's a minimum of 10, and it usually doesn't go much more than 15 or 16. So it's really a great small group experience.
Do you also do group experiences for others, or is it only for personal travel?
We do. Absolutely, we do. We do multi-generational. Grandma, grandpa have an anniversary or a birthday, and they want to take the kids and the grandkids. We do a lot of that. We do affinity groups. Lately, I've had 3 or 4 50th birthday parties. I've got one going to France. We had one going to the Caribbean. Sometimes I have individuals who I had a travel and social media wine person. We did a wine trip to Portugal for her people. I'm talking to a cookbook author right now about she did a book on her travels through Italy. And so we're in the process of doing that. I am working with a nonprofit called the Singers Gym, which trains opera singers. There's a program through San Francisco Opera, and I think it's called Mirala. I'm not sure if I pronounce it right, but young, very successful, promising opera singers, Juilliard graduates, all that kind of thing, kind of go through a training program, and then the best of the best become Adler Fellows, and then they get hired by opera companies around the world. It's an amazing thing that San Francisco Opera started. So this particular company helps train those people. They're trained very technically in their voice, but they also need to know how to perform and engage people when they're on stage. And that's what they do. And so we are chartering a river cruise in November of 2024. And it'll be from Budapest to Vienna, so 2 major opera houses. And while we're on the cruise, they're going to be demonstrating with some of these young singers how they do that. So it's going to be a behind the scenes opera experience. And then at the end, there'll be a performance. So this is for anyone who loves opera. This is really an experience not to be missed. So that's another kind of example. For 4 years, I did the Travel for Filoli down the peninsula. So we do groups and we do individuals, and we love it all.
So can people get some ideas of these types of trips, either those that you have planned yourself or something that can help them get, their creative juices flowing?
Happy to go to my website, which is, www or https, whatever. But just remember, we make travel easy. That's very easy. So you can go to my website. There's details about the Morocco trip. You can even put a deposit through the website if it was something, and I would really love to have you do that. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. We do have a Twitter handle, but to be honest, we're not very active on Twitter. I am on the Condé Nast top travel specialist list. So if you go to Condé Nast, which is like the magazine of the travel industry, and you look for their top travel specialist list, you will find me there. We were on the J Readers, weekly favorites, so we're there. So it's pretty easy to find us, and and you can always email me info@wemaketraveleasy.com. That's really easy to remember. And we'd love to hear from you. We'd love to make your travel dreams come true. Like we like to say, we make travel easy and extraordinary.
We'll put all of those links in the show notes so that not only our listeners, but also those who get the email can later find you and check out your website. Sandy, as we come close to wrapping up our conversation, do you have any closing thoughts or any additional insights that you want to offer to our listeners?
Well, the thing that I really think is the most important thing, and probably one of the things I love most about travel is so enriching to a person's life, to your connections, to your family. I mean, it's educational and it's bonding. I mean, the people that you share travel with, it's a connection and a sharing you'll have. And for parents, you have 18 summers with your kids. That's it. Then they're off with their friends. But if you travel with them, first of all, you're going to teach them and expose them to the world. I really believe if more people traveled, we'd have more world peace. And, it's like, and then there's going to be Thanksgivings, that you're together and you're going to say, remember when we were in Paris and Dad did this, or remember when we were in Portugal and Sally got lost, or do you remember that meal we had in Croatia? Oh my God, there was never anything. And remember when we saw those lion cubs playing together? That was so cute. I mean, these are the things that share and bond and, make such a difference in someone's life. It's so enriching. So everyone should travel. I always thought if kids spent a semester abroad living with a family, they'd learn that people are the same. They love their kids. They want a better life. Maybe they wear different clothes. Maybe they eat different food. Maybe they speak another language. Maybe their house looks different. Maybe they pray to a different God or, in a different kind of way. But that's all interesting. It's not scary. It's not bad. It's just different and it's interesting. And if people would be less afraid of things that were not the same and realize that it's one world and we're together, and travel is just the key to unlock a lot of that.
Well, that's a beautiful way to close. Very motivating. And I imagine every one of our listeners right now is just itching to go and travel and explore some beautiful place, have some great food, and share some laughs with new friends.
Absolutely.
Folks, we've been talking with Sandy Lipkowitz. She's the owner of an award-winning travel agency called We Make Travel Easy. So, hey, if you've been craving a unique travel journey for yourself or for your family or for your business without having to do any of the planning, well, now you have Sandy to call. Or you can go to her website, which is www.wemaketraveleasy.com. All right, Sandy, I just want to thank you again on behalf of the Hebrew Free Loan and our business circle for taking the time and sharing your passion and your love for travel, giving us some tips, and for being with us.
Oh, thank you, Roman. It was a delight. And thank you for all that you do for Hebrew Free Loan. And Hebrew Free Loan is just such a fabulous organization. They're there and so humble and just the right times for everyone in all different kinds of needs. It's truly a blessing.
Well, thank you for saying that. And to all of our listeners, thank you for your support. Thank you for listening, and be well, everybody.